Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and I guess a couple of you wrestling fans out there tonight, welcome back to the 7th annual 2021 Indy Awards. And before we go into the next award, folks, two things. One, hopefully in the future, Freedom Fighters gets made into a movie, because I got a feeling it would have a couple of Red Dawn sort of moments in it as well for it. And on top of that, the maestro said we figured out a way to decide who in the world was the creator of the year for this year, and we went by who won the tracks of the month the most, and Genova won that by a landslide, so that is your official winner of that said award. But apparently they decided to share the award regardless. So, hey, either way, it's settled. But besides settling that big argument that I got a feeling we were gonna have to deal with for the next week and a half, it's now time for us to go into our next award for the night, which is none other than the Match of the Year Award. And under these special circumstances this year, with wrestling put to almost a screeching halt due to the pandemic of 2020, yeah, it's great to see that they were able to do something to get our minds off of the troubling times of the world with great wrestling action that'll make us say not only fight forever, this is awesome, or most likely holy crap on the other side of a Zoom call, or whatever the world those screens are for the WWE Universe or Thunderdome that they decided to steal from Mad Max and Mel Gibson, along with Tina Turner and anybody else who was involved with that film. Oh yeah, Master Blaster too. Dan the Weatherman Stu, before I forget, please read the nominees for this year's Match of the Year, which is mostly WWE based for this year, since we really didn't get a chance to watch matches outside of that umbrella. Really wish we did. And here are your nominees for this year's Match of the Year he forgot to put WWE in front of. Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulag at the Elimination Chamber of last year. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulag, a moment where we would see Drew Gulag take Daniel Bryan to the limit with his Dean Malenko-like styles, and not to mention, was even able to befriend Daniel Bryan after this match took place, and actually took Daniel Bryan under his wing to try to make him a better wrestler heading to WrestleMania for his Intercontinental Championship match against Sami Zayn. Yeah. Truly proves that wrestling does bring people closer together. Dominic Dijakovic versus Keith Lee at Takeover Portland for the North American Championship. Isn't that just the United States Championship? Well, technically, Dan the Weatherman Stu, it is. But at the same time, besides the championship and the fact that I do think it's another version of the United States Championship, this match proved that big guys can fly and become a new breed of cruiserweights in matches. And not to mention a match that was supposed to be a part of the Indy Awards last year, but unfortunately did not make the cut due to the date limit we did the cutoff for that said match. Kyle O'Reilly versus Finn Balor at Takeover 31. And before DJ Smokey says it, Tiger Knee. Yeah, definitely a Tiger Knee moment that happened at this said Takeover, which would see Kyle O'Reilly actually Tiger Kneeing Finn Balor right directly in the jaw, causing him to be on the shelf for several weeks, leading to their next confrontation at New Year's Evil, and this match would even get Match of the Year for NXT for their End of the Year Awards. Will it win an award for this year's Indy Awards? Only time will tell. And by the way, the maestro's asking me why Killer Cross is not on this list. Good question, and hopefully he doesn't kill me for it. AJ Styles versus Drew Gulag at the July 3rd edition of SmackDown Live for the Intercontinental Championship. Yep, another classic Drew Gulag match that was mentioned on this show, where Drew Gulag would try to prove a point to Daniel Bryan that he can take people to the limit as well, and would do so to the Phenomenal One, to the point where he would hit him with not only a phenomenal forearm, but a Styles Clash to try to stop the offense of Drew Gulag, who had an answer for everything that the Phenomenal One did, with the exception of those two moves we just mentioned. Drew Gulag versus Cesaro at WrestleMania 36. This might as well be the Drew Gulag show. You know, at this point, Dan the Weatherman Stu, you just might be right. And the reason why in the world we decided to pick this match out of all the matches that took place at the Showcase of the Immortals under unique circumstances for this past year is, well, for two reasons. One, Cesaro would break out a move that he hasn't done in ages, known as the UFO from his Indy days. And also, we would see Drew Gulag find every single Dean Malenko-like counter possible to the overwhelming strength and power of the Swiss Cyborg in this pre-show match. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, this match was on the pre-show and it almost stole the show, in my opinion. Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns at tables, ladders, and chairs in a tables, ladders, and chairs match for a belt as well. Yeah, Dan the Weatherman Stu, this was for a championship along the lines of the Universal Studios of Orlando, Florida's championship. And it proved during this match that Kevin Owens really does live up to his t-shirt to just keep fighting no matter how many things he gets hit with, whether it be office chairs, spears, chairs, and other things that was involved in this match, including a modified Michinoku driver onto a ladder. Why in the world, every single time I see Kevin Owens in a ladder match, his spine gets contorted by spine busters or Michinoku drivers on ladders? Jeez, man's not gonna have a back if he keeps this up. Jeff Hardy versus Sami Zayn versus AJ Styles in a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship at Night of Champions. The pay-per-view DJ Smokey forgot to mention. You know, you're right. We almost forgot to mention the name of the pay-per-view where it took place, and it was at Night of Champions. I thought this took place at tables, ladders, and chairs. That's why I was confused. But at the same time, folks, all three of these gentlemen putting their bodies on the line, especially Jeff Hardy jumping off a 20-foot ladder to try to win the Covenant Intercontinental Championship that Sami Zayn never lost, and not to mention couldn't defend due to the pandemic. And technically was stripped of the championship as well, but yeah, still was able to put on one hell of a match that we possibly couldn't have forgotten. And with all those nominees read and a tagline that we forgot to mention for the beginning of this awards, Dan the Weatherman Stu, if you will, please read the winner for this year's match of the year. And the winner for this year's match of the year is, drum roll please, Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns at tables, ladders, and chairs in a tables, ladders, and chairs match for a belt. Congratulations! Congratulations indeed, and not to mention winning by well over 3,000 votes from the other match that could have won, which was AJ Styles versus Drew Gulag at the July 3rd edition of SmackDown Live for the Intercontinental Championship. And I find it funny, most of these matches of the year all revolves around the Intercontinental Championship. Funny, isn't it? And with that said, folks, we might as well head back into this music, and when we return, we'll be back with the most interesting person of 2020 as the Indie Awards rolls on right after this. So don't go anywhere just yet, folks, and stay tuned.